pleased to be here today with our new mayor, Suzette DeBeatham-Brown, and she and I are going to have some discussions over how she ended up being mayor and some of the programs and efforts and goals and objectives that she and perhaps the new council are interested in trying to achieve during their tenure here as the town council and mayor in Bloomfield. So Suzette, let's start off a little bit. Maybe you can give me a little bit of your background and how you ended up deciding you wanted to run for mayor in Bloomfield.
Wow, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity of the conversation. So, wow, would I think maybe 10 years ago that I would be involved in politics, much less become the mayor of the town that I love so much? I'm a lifelong servant. I'm a community servant and a servant in my church. So doing servant work, doing volunteer work is a part of my fabric. It's a part of who I am. Being a part of the community beautification committee where we did some plantings for the town, being the chaplain for the Bloomfield Police Department. I chaired the community awareness task force, and that came about a couple years ago when we had those community conversations on race, because I know that task force was active years and years ago, and then the town didn't feel the need for it anymore. But when we started having those community conversations on race and getting our community involved, I was so glad that the former council made this committee available again. So doing the work for the town and the servant work in my church, when you see problems, the best thing to do is become a part of the solution. And I thought it was really important to get involved in the government of our town, to be a voice for the regular citizens who just want to see Bloomfield be better, who wants to see the bloom in Bloomfield, who wants to see our town go to the next level. So that's what kind of got me energized to step out of my comfort zone of our church and the ministry work that we were doing in church to take an active role in community and political work.
Well, you certainly made your mark in Bloomfield and done a lot for the community over the years. I do know, and I remember the community conversations on race that we had several years ago, and the outgrowth of that to the task force on community awareness and some of their activities with the Bloomfield Police Department. They did quite a bit, I think, from what I remember, in terms of holding community conversations on the issue, discussing things, having panels, and then starting to focus, I believe, on what the police department could do with our youth, yes, particularly. And I think that that's still the focus today, at least in my discussions with Chief Hammock and what he's trying to do with the police department itself. But you've also had a leadership role in your church, yes, and that is an interesting thing. How did you arrive at that?
So the wonderful Church of God, now the Rehoboth Church of God, we had an amazing pastor named Jeremiah McIntyre, and he saw the potential in me, and I was blessed enough to be a youth leader for our young people. I was also the dean of the Peter C. Barrett Bible Institute. I became the public relations director for our local church.
Well, that fits in with your role as mayor.
And then the public relations director for our regional state here in Southern New England, the Southern New England Churches of God. So I've had a lot of experience being able to lead and to shape lives, and that's a blessing for me in my church work. I am an ordained minister. My husband, Bishop Norris, and I, we co-pastor a church, and we are ministry leaders in our local church, so we're very excited about that other side of my life. And my other full-time job is with the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District. So when I say community work and service is in my DNA, it really, really is.
So what do you do with the health district, and what are maybe some of the things you're involved with them?
Oh my goodness. So with the health district, I'm their business office manager. I do their grant reporting. So all finances. But at the health district, we run immunization clinics. And right now, the big thing is flu. So I know that the health district has partnered with the Bloomfield schools, and they're going to be putting on a special flu clinic. And they've also partnered with the West Hartford schools, and they're going to be doing it there in West Hartford. So whatever issues that come up as it pertains to health, the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District is very committed to the 2 member towns that we serve, which Bloomfield is one. And I know that you like to say here in Bloomfield, it's the Bloomfield West Hartford Health District.
There you go. There you go. And you're involved with finances there,
Yes.
so that works right in with our budget issues here with the town as we move ahead every year to go through that rather lengthy process and whatnot. So as mayor, what are some of the goals, maybe of things you want to try to accomplish during your tenure in office?
So this conversation is really good because last night we had our first town hall meeting. That was a goal, right? Because when we were campaigning, we made the promise that we would go back to our neighbors and our residents and hear from them, that we wouldn't just expect them to come to town hall meetings, but we would go out to where they are to hear their voices, to make sure that the decisions that we're making includes them. So that goal right there was amazing. Last night we had over 100 of our residents who took time out of their busy schedules to come and to hear the state of our town presented by you and to give us some feedback. So we want to keep those conversations going. We want to keep the lines of communications open. We want to have our neighbors and our residents a part of the discussion that we're having to shape our town. What will our town look like? What will be our brand for Bloomfield? How other developments, how do they fit into what we want here in town? The blight issue, community relations, things like that. Those are the things that we're passionate about. We want to make sure that we're being fiscally responsible and that our residents know what's in the budget and what the budget looks like. I know that we have some big projects going on, DPW, and hopefully the Human Services Building on 330 Park. We want to hear from you. It's a part of the process. And if at the end of my tenure, if we can be a more united community, a more cohesive community, I would have think that I would have accomplished something.
Well, I think you're well on the way. As you indicated, I was at the meeting last night, and we had a large number of people, probably close to 100, if not more.
110 to be exact.
Oh, is that right? Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yes.
But they were very active, engaged, and pleasant, and civil, and
Yes.
it was a good community type of meeting conversation that took place. So do you think that what are some of the rest of the goals that maybe the council has that you're discussing with them for the forthcoming term?
So I know that one of the big things is the budget, because that's coming up, and I know Councilman Goff especially wants a functional budget. He wants a budget that the residents can take and look and understand. I know that we're looking at the town center plan, and we want to make sure that our town is representative of the businesses that comes into town and what's going on in the different developments already in the area. I know that we are excited about the greenways that's coming up. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that our public safety is cohesive throughout the police department, the fire department, and making sure that the community's needs are being met. So I know the council is really looking at enriching what we already have here in town and being able to support the programs that we currently have to grow, to build on what we have to make a better Bloomfield. And the council, Democrats and Republicans, we are working together towards that end.
So you're a brand-new mayor with a brand-new council. I mean, we have 7 new council members out of 9 who have never held public office, I don't believe. And so they are learning what the role is of being a council member. What's your first impressions of things?
Well, I've always said that it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback. It's always easy to say how that game should have gone on Monday, and if you were actually in the game, how it would have gone. for becoming mayor now for it's been what, 3 months? There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of investment to put the work in. And I know that we have 7 new council persons, but with the 7 new persons, you have people who were policymakers, people who were CFOs and finance and accountants, and people who ran their own businesses, and people who've had experiences in other towns doing different work. So the good thing about the council is we're new, but we're experienced. We're new, we're experienced, and we're committed. We're committed for a better Bloomfield. We had our council retreat a couple of weeks ago, and it was Team Bloomfield. Team Bloomfield all the way, doing what is in the best interest of our town. And we're learning, right? We're learning because we're not on the campaign trail anymore, and we're learning that the strength in each individual councilor is the strength of the council as a team. And if we can learn that it's not about us individually or about our individual agenda, but it's about what's in the best interest of our town, I believe that this new council will be on the cutting edge.
Well, so far they've certainly shown their independence and foresight and thoughts and interest in doing a number of things in Bloomfield, continuing in some cases the legacies of the past and also initiating new programs and projects as we move forward. So based on your background, and do you anticipate a longer career in politics?
So, my parents, Winston and Pauline, has always taught me that wherever you go, whether it's a church, whether it's your regular job, it's a committee, even with your group of friends, the best thing that you can do is try to leave it better than how you found it. So if at the end of 2 years, I can look back and say, you know, our town was a little bit better because of me being the mayor and me being on this new council, I'll consider it. There's so much to give. In our world today, all the people that want to tear us apart, we need people that's trying to unite us. And I'm one of those. I will point out a problem, but I'll also point out a solution. So I believe that this is a very good starting point for me. And I love this town. I told you the story. I used to tell people I lived in Bloomfield before I lived in Bloomfield. So I'm really vested and committed to our town. And I would hope and pray that at the end of my tenure, the residents of Bloomfield will see my benefit. And if they see my benefit, I will continue.
Well, that's good, and I'm sure they will. I think the town has been very impressed with the candidates and yourself, and seems to be focused on moving things ahead in a variety of ways. I think also, tell us a little bit about your family and so forth. You have children, I know that.
I have been blessed. I have an amazing husband, Bishop Norris Brown, and we are blessed with 3 amazing children. My daughter, my oldest, Sheldon, she's in college. She goes to Lee University, but she ran track for Bloomfield. And I have all of the state rings because she left them at home and in my care. So I'm excited about that. My son, Savion, is a senior at Bloomfield High School. He was a part of the football team. And I'm a little sad. You know, he's a senior. He'll be going to college soon. And my youngest, Sage, she goes to Metropolitan Learning Center here in Bloomfield as well. Oh. So I have 3 amazing, talented children that have all grown up in Bloomfield. My husband and I have been here for 25 years.
Really? That's
25 years. So this is our roots. This is our roots. Rehoboth, formerly 339 Blue Hills Avenue Church of God, moved to 1170 Blue Hills Avenue. So you live here, you work here, you worship here, you spend time and money here. This is our community. This is my town. This is my town.
Well, we're glad to have you, and I'm sure that your program and the council's goals and objectives will be accepted well by the community. I think they're right on right on the target of what everybody is trying to do in Bloomfield, and I think that's a good effort that we're working towards. What do you think should be some of the budgetary priorities that we're facing? There's always more wants and needs than there are resources, and we're definitely into a stressed environment with the state of Connecticut and their budget problems, which we have to keep an eye on. But I was wondering if you had any particular projects that you think we should be focusing on, or that the council should be focusing on going forward.
I know one of the big things will be our schools, and even last night we heard about making sure that our schools have all the resources they need, because we are teaching the generation for the future. So we are very interested in seeing that budget. We're interested in also seeing the budget for capital improvements. Mm-hmm. There's some things in town that, as our beautiful town goes, we have improvements that we need to be made, whether it's with our town center or whether it's with our Blue Hills Business District. I believe that we need to focus a little bit more on our Blue Hills Business District, and I know that we've had some conversations with you and the council on how we can do that. There's some improvements planned for that area, which I think if we can bring that to fruition, it will be amazing. That gateway on the Blue Hills side coming into town will just be beautiful and inviting. So we do have some of those things that we're looking at, and as you said, we have to be creative when it comes to resources, and we are very committed to doing that.
I think that one of the things that we're hoping to do is to leverage the town and our business community on some projects and community involvement. And one of those efforts is to try to look at potentially combining or upscaling some of the marketing efforts that we have on the town.
Yes.
Can you go into that a little bit, your thoughts on a marketing campaign?
One of the things that I have been working with you on and trying to find a subcommittee is the fact that we need to brand our town. Bloomfield sits in a perfect position. Hartford, Avon, Windsor, we're in this perfect position, and we have this gem of a town, and we want everyone to know what we have here in Bloomfield. So we're going to start a branding campaign to make Bloomfield better, a place to work, a place to live, a place to have fun, right? And that's going to take time, effort, and money. And one of our premier companies, Cigna, we've had that conversation with them. They're excited that they're here. They want to grow here, but they also want to be more involved here. So I believe that we're going to have a great opportunity to partner with our businesses, partner with the schools. We have a project that's hopefully we're going to work with the school around STEM and with the other members of our community. Someone said the other day that Bloomfield is going to blow up soon, right? It's going to blow up with excitement and with potential, and I believe that we are on the cutting edge. We are on the precipice of that happening, and so I know that the council and the town manager and myself is going to work hard to do that.
Well, I think that's a great vision, and I know that the various business organizations, the Chamber of Commerce and the Bloomfield Center Business Alliance are all, I think, on board with those things. We try to keep them informed and involved and run things by them. They're another opportunity for a community forum. Some of the businesses, the ownership is not located in Bloomfield, so it's a way of being able to communicate with them over time. But I think it's a great vision for the future and a great vision moving forward. And I want to thank you for taking the time today to spend with us here on Bloomfield Today. And I'm sure as we go forward, we'll be having you come back to get some further insight into your plans and vision. So thank you. Thank
you very much. It's a great opportunity to talk with you and to talk with our viewers. I want to leave just one little quote that I heard. You can't always be right, but you can always be reasonable. And that's what we're committed to do.
Well, I think that's a great guideline for moving forward. And thank you again for being with us today.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Bloomfield Today. I'm Philip Schenk, the Bloomfield Town Manager, and I had a few things I wanted to go over with all of you to inform you of things going on and also advise you on some of the things that we'll be dealing with going ahead here at the Town Hall. First of all, I'd like to let you know that we are really now starting to get into the budget for the fiscal year that begins July 1st. Of 2018 through June 30th, 2019. We've had a number of departmental budget meetings. We've reviewed capital budget plans, or at least projects that the staff feel that we should be looking at. And you'll be seeing shortly more reports coming out on the budget. The annual town meeting and budget meeting is scheduled for the first Monday in May 7th. So we'll be looking forward if you want to attend. We always encourage attendance and comments and so forth on the budget. Community input is a prime goal of determining priorities as we go forward. As with any budget, whether it's our budgets at home or at work or in the town, the needs and wants, as I mentioned earlier, always seem to exceed the resources that we have available. It's a very challenging time budget-wise. We're not sure what the state of Connecticut is going to do. Bloomfield receives about 10% of its budget, about $9 million from the state of Connecticut. That was reduced last year by almost $1,200,000, creating the potential for a budget deficit. Both myself and Superintendent James Thompson and our finance professionals instituted a budget freeze last September when it was apparent the state was not going to be able to come to a resolution of the budget anytime soon. I think Bloomfield is well positioned, and I think that we'll get through things. We've got very good financial reserves. You've got a very prudent elected council in place, and the staff highly professional and well educated. Some other things, we're in winter time, and obviously things are cold. We're subject to snow, and we're subject to potholes on the road. So if you come across a pothole, please feel free to call the town hall and let us know, and we'll try to get our crews out there to at least fill it so that we don't have problems. And the number here at the town hall is 860-769-3500. 860-769-3500. If you can call those in, you can also email us. Go to the webpage and you can email it any of these sorts of things that you find, potholes or other problems, directly to Public Works Director John Lawler. His email address and contact information is on our website, bloomfieldct.gov. bloomfieldct.gov. Another item I wanted to bring up was basically our police cadet program. We have an outstanding program, probably one of the best in the state of Connecticut. We're looking for younger people, either a senior in high school or right out of high school, maybe already in college, that would be interested in becoming a police officer in the town of Bloomfield. We provide you with a job. We provide you with tuition assistance to get your degree in law enforcement, and you're guaranteed a position in the police department upon graduation and completion of all of the requirements that are necessary to become a police officer. And so I urge you to contact the Bloomfield Police Department, and they can guide you. If you have young people in your household that might be interested, it's a great career, and contrary to what many of us see on television and others, it's really a career of helping people. The vast majority of calls we get in Bloomfield relate to helping people. They're not involved with negative issues that you sometimes see on television. Another problem with winter is plowing of snow. We don't want to see your contract plow drivers or you plowing snow out in the road. This blocks things for your neighbors. It creates problems for the post office if they're delivering mail. So we urge you to make sure that your plow contractors or yourself, that you're not pushing snow out in the middle of the road. We don't want to have to call you up and ask you to remove it. It helps us out, and it helps oil trucks, it helps the post office, it helps any of the delivery trucks if you can keep that out of the road when we have snow. So I want to thank you again for your loyal viewing of our program, and we'll be back again next month with another speaker of interest, and be happy to update you on things as they are next month.